Everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up.
What is going on, you positive peoples? Welcome back to another episode of Carl's Notes of Positivity. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. As always, my name is Cody Carlson, aka Carl. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like the video if you like what you hear today. Make sure you follow me on my other social media pages on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, where we post daily Bible verses to get your day started off right, and daily motivation as well. And like always, my friends, before we get started, I would love to pray for you guys. So if we can just bow our heads together, I would love to pray for you today. Heavenly Father, I just lift this moment up to you as always. Lord, I just thank you for the people listening and not listening to this podcast. God, I just lift those people up. And Lord, I just pray that when times come along and seasons are high, seasons are low, God, we just give you all the glory, right? We always just give you praise and honor. And Lord, I just pray that you keep on directing us towards a good path, towards your good plan, towards something that you see as our purpose on this planet. Lord, I just pray for continuous joy and comfort in our hearts through any times of season. And I just thank you for everything that you're providing in our lives. It's in your name I pray all this in. Amen. Awesome. Well, today, family, we have a topic about controlling anger. Now, I know last week I kind of talked about how 2026 hasn't been the way I wanted it to start, and that's very much true. It's still kind of going on today, so I wanted to kind of cover that. But I feel like just when it comes to today, you know, there's been some back and forth on how to go about the whole situation. If you want to know the situation, go back to my previous episode where I talk a little bit more in depth. But basically, there was a hole in the ceiling that a pipe burst caused. It wasn't my fault. Nobody was liable besides the building. Landlord had a little bit of disagreements with me on how it should have been handled. And I looked today now to see what my rent payment is, and it never changed. And I feel like when, you know, if you're not living in your place because it's uninhabitable, you shouldn't have to pay for it. And it was by state law that you have to get rent back. So we're handling it that way. But I feel like when it comes to those moments, I remember just being at the gym this morning, I saw that happen, and there's all these thoughts of just like anger and frustration in my heart and my head, just like, what are we doing? Like, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to go about it, like, oh, this guy's an idiot, like, you know, just getting all like mean and aggressive. And it's like, you know what, like, I think God just told me in the moment, you know, like some things, you know, are just out of my hands, and I just have to trust his plan, and I can only do what I can only do. So we're going to cover that today, and I feel like that's just a good foundation to start upon, is that we can only control the controllables. I think when I thought about that situation, just like a huge mindset shift of mine that I had coming out of college was just control the controllables, right? And trust his plan, trust in faith, and just really lean into what you can only do, right? So, and I think that's how I've just really built discipline afterwards, just growing up, getting in the workforce, kind of learning my own path is, you know, I can only control what I can only control. I can only control when I work out, when I eat, when I work, when I'm not working, what am I doing with my time, etc., right? Like, there's only certain things I can control, and then other things are just gonna happen, and that's how life is. And you know, it's kind of just a wonderful journey if you think about it, because if you really just trust that mindset, I guess, and trust the faith, then you just really leave it all up to God to kind of guide you while you just control what you control, and it's just really cool. When it comes to the specifics of what I can control, there's how I speak, how I carry myself, and whether I let anger dictate my day, right? And I guess I'll just establish this too. It doesn't make you weak if you're angry, right? Like, I feel like we're all human. We all get angry. We all might say heat in the moment things that we shouldn't say. But when it comes to that and my thoughts that I was thinking of in that moment, right, it was more or less, okay, let's take a breather. Let's take a step back. Let's carry ourselves in the positive manner that we want to be. Let's be a light, you know. Let's be kind, show generosity, be authentic, and just share our point of view and stand up for ourselves in a meaningful manner, but also a kind manner. So sometimes I feel like I said, a lot of people kind of just jump the gun, or it's like, yeah, just like, you suck, like, you're an idiot, you're a moron, and then they get in a fight and nothing results good out of that, right? And when I was getting those thoughts, I was like, okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's just call our mom. Let's talk about the situation, and we're going to figure out from there. And that's what I did. So I called my mom. set up some documentation, talked about what I was going to talk about, and we're going from there. So I think that's just a really good foundation to lay upon, is that you can only control what you can only control. Sometimes it gets out of hand, but other times, let's learn from those moments and just really reflect upon how we can grow from there. So yeah, I think that's just a good foundation to go upon, and I really encourage you guys to kind of take that mindset into your situations when you have a disagreement with your heart, with disagreement with somebody else, disagreement with something going on, etc. I think a second thing that I established from just kind of controlling my anger is just a gratitude moment. I talk a lot about this in my previous episodes and just a lot about it in life, but I think when it comes to gratitude, I think that really just overcomes our heart in a meaningful manner. It allows us to take that step back, right, that I talked about, and just say, holy moly, like, okay, things aren't going well, but like, think about this. I have a wonderful family. I have wonderful friends. I will eventually be back in this place. I have a wonderful job. There's other things you can be grateful for that are completely, I guess, misdirected from the situation, that just allows you to calm your heart, calm your mind, and get a little bit level-headed. I mean, I think about previous experiences where when I get a little bit angry or a little bit frustrated, sometimes I say things in the heat of the moment, but also I think there's a lot of like emotional things that I try to say to like calm the situation down, even when I don't believe it, right? So for example, like, I don't know, maybe I'll just say something that will please the other person, because the people pleaser comes out in me. And while it's not always like how it should be, sometimes we just say in the moment, but when I think about what I'm grateful for, it allows me to get that level-headed mind, because when emotions and tension is high, that's when you say those people-pleasing things, is what I'm trying to get at. Because every time that, you're thinking with emotions instead of with logic, you start to say things, and it may not always reflect. But if you think about your gratitude moments and kind of just go back to the basics of, I'm healthy, I have 2 legs today, I've, like something just stupid simple like that, I think is pretty incredible, and it really shifts your mind towards a better day ahead than how it started. So I think with controlling the controllables and gratitude, those go hand in hand to be like my yin and yang of getting back on track when I feel a little bit frustrated and angry. I think like an optional thing that I like to do is breath work. A lot of the times when you feel emotions and when you feel certain ways, it's because of your tempo of breathing, right? So if I'm like anxious, my heart's beating super fast and I'm not breathing a lot of oxygen in my bloodstream, so I need to like take a deep breath, like let's reestablish that. And then same thing with like at work, if I'm stressed, like everybody will hear the like that, right? But I think if you go just take a deep breath in the nose, and then I like to hold it in the chest a little bit. I think it's called box breathing. But when I just hold it in and kind of just let my mind calm down a little bit, and then breathe out with pursed lips, because when you do that, you get more oxygen in the bloodstream and allows you to circulate that throughout your body a little bit quicker, causing a little bit more of a relaxing feeling. So I think that's just an optional thing I definitely recommend too in those situations, just because, like I said, it just allows you to get a little bit more level-headed, a little bit more calm, and a little bit more understanding the situation. If you have a clear level head going into it and understanding that God's got a plan for you no matter what happens. I think a struggle when it comes to this is just feeling powerless when you're not in control, right? I think as humans tend to be, they always want to have power. They always want to take over things. They want to be in control of situations at all times and at every aspect of it. And that's just not the case with life. Life comes and goes. It throws you curveballs, it throws you pitches right down the middle, but there's also the times when you just like don't even see it coming at you half the time, right? And when those things hit and we feel a little bit powerless, we get a little bit, more angry, we get a little bit sad, we get a little bit depressed. But it's in those times that I just encourage that power isn't always in changing the outcome, it's choosing your character under pressure. I think that's such a good quote to describe it, because it just shows that even when those things happen, like you're still growing. The best teachers are still students in learning, right? They're still learning. I also like the quote, the best healers are still healing, right, too. So not everybody's going to be perfect all the time, but you're still growing from all these instances. And whether you realize it or not in the moment, you reflect on that situation 5 years later. And one, it's either a funny story. Two, it's a hilarious mistake that you learned upon. Or three, you just realize that you're grateful for it because it changed your mentality on a specific thing. For example, this recent situation, I was out on my friend's couch for a whole week. It allowed me to understand not to take things for granted. Just being by myself, I'm just very grateful to have friendships that I have, for people to just take me in like that out of nowhere and really just allow me to have a roof over my head for a week is very incredible to think about. It's awesome how God just puts people in your life that really care about you. So I think it's just something like that, right? And then, I don't know, maybe you experienced a breakup. It's going to hurt for a little bit of time, and it's going to take a little bit of healing, but it might allow you to grow in some places that you never thought you would grow. And you might, just really learn from it too. It's the darkest of times that really allow us to show the brightest of light that Jesus gives us, is how I think of it. So what I recommend is kind of like a tip for going about it is just, when you're feeling a little bit frustrated, when your blood's starting to boil, I like to think about it like this, like the 24-hour rule. Like, don't let it conquer your day. Don't send the email. Don't make the call. Don't emotionally confront somebody in the heat of the moment. Write everything out. Like I said, journaling is the biggest game changer. If you haven't done it, do it for a month. It'll change your life. Journal it out. Really feel yourself respond to the situation calmly through that, and then address it in a level-headed manner. So, because I've definitely done the text messages a couple times where emotions are high. I'm not the most logical person in the conversation at the moment, and it didn't ruin my day, but it was still sorry, emotions were high, tensions were there, and I let things get the best of me. Something like that. Let's learn from that, let's grow from that, let's get better each and every day. So I think a reflection I recommend when it comes to this is just reflecting on what situation am I letting steal my peace right now. I think everybody has this just from situations like this, or even just situations of bad habits, situations where you might not be in the best friendship, the best relationship right now, you disagree upon something, something like that. Let's just let's hit pause, take a deep breath, and let's establish it with a little bit more accountability in our hearts, and write what is in your control when it comes to the situation. What can you control in the situation and make the best result that you can, and then let life take its course from there. So I definitely recommend that. A good affirmation I like to say is, I'm calm, grounded, and disciplined under pressure. I will get through this. I will be better, and I will calm down from the situation. I'm grateful that God's put me through everything I've been through, and I know I will only learn from here on out. So with all that, anger is not a signal. It's not a command. It's just something you can just learn, sit with, and then grow from to choose a better response. It can level you up as a leader, as a person, as a man, a woman, and it just will allow you to navigate the way you want to respond to future situations like this. James 1:19, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. I think that's a great verse to really reflect on, because it just tells us to slow down during these emotional times, and let's really take this at a logical perspective to figure things out. I also think Matthew 5 talks about this really well too. I think it's when Jesus teaches about anger, it kind of just talks about how if somebody does you wrong, or you have an enemy that does you wrong, make sure you become friends quickly. That's from Matthew 5:25. If your enemy is taking you to court, become friends quickly before you go to court. Otherwise, your enemy might turn you over to the judge, and the judge might give you to guard to put in jail. I tell you the truth, you will not leave there until you have paid everything you owe. And I think the first part is just the key there, right? It allows us to understand, we should be friends with everybody. We should always forgive. Matthew 19 or 18 talks about forgiving people 77 times, and then that was more or less a not an exaggeration, but it teaches us to always forgive and always learn and always grow. we might not have to like the person, but we should always treat them with kindness and a humble heart. And I think that really resonates with this topic too, because when you do that, anger starts to minimize in your life. So with that, I hope you guys are able to handle these situations a lot better. I hope that it was proven to be a little bit insightful on anything that you're experiencing. And yeah, I just hope that you don't let anger distraught your brain, your thinking, and you're able to follow God's plan and just allow his peace to overcome your heart. So if you like what you heard today, make sure you like the video. Make sure you tell somebody else to like the video and to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also follow me on my other social medias, like I said, on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all Carl's Notes of Positivity with the X, same as the YouTube handle. And like always, my friends, I'll be praying for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. I love you guys so much. Make sure you tell somebody else that you love them too. And yeah, I love you guys. Carl's out. Peace.
But just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.